Hello everyone and welcome to my vitamin D walk talk. Today I am getting 78 IUs a minute. It is a nice hot day. I mean, it's not too hot. It's like mid 70s out here. Perfect Southern California weather. It is amazing. I love this time of year. I know I used to live in Arizona and it's like 105 or something out there. I don't even look at the temperature anymore because that just sounds crazy to me now because this weather is amazing. It's one of the top reasons that I love living in Southern California. But for today's walk talk, I am going to get super personal and kind of describe my first colonic experience that I had yesterday. So I had no idea what to expect. I've never done this before, so I kind of wanted to talk through what my experience was like in case anyone out there is interested, is curious, doesn't really know what to do, is maybe kind of shy about it. I'm not shy at all. I actually had a guy technician because I really don't care. Not shy over here. I will talk about poop all day long. Cleaning the colon I think is very important. And I truly believe my colon is very clean. So we're going to get into that as well. But yeah, like I said, never been in this place before. I wanted to try it because it's something that I recommend to my clients. And I'm not the type of person that's going to recommend things that I've never done and never experienced myself. And it's not harmful. It's not going to hurt you. You're not going to mess anything up. You're not going to like puncture an organ. You're not going to do that. I mean, it's literally just water up your butt. It's just cleaning. It's not that bad. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. So I kind of asked around and one of my other clients was like, yeah, I love them. They're great. I go all the time. I go to this place in Newport Beach and it's like right next to my house. And she was like, yeah, I've been to other ones and this one is fantastic. They do it a little bit differently and I have no cramping, no issues, no pain. So I'm like, all right, that sounds good. So I called this guy up and I was like, hey, yes, I'd like to make an appointment. And I was like, how much do you guys charge? And he was like, 120 for your first time. And then it's 140 or you can buy packages and all that. So I'm just like, all right, that's a little bit more than I was expecting. I'm kind of thinking in my head it was going to be like $80, maybe to $90 or so. I'm like, okay. So I booked an appointment for yesterday. So it was about I think I booked this last Wednesday or so. So I actually had another one of my clients and she went to a separate colonic place in Lake Forest that she was recommended by another raw vegan. And she went and she called me on Friday and told me about her experience. And I was like, oh boy, because she was like, yeah, I wasn't comfortable. I had a lot of cramping. I had to kind of breathe through it. And she said the girl was doing sound bath for her and kind of massaging her stomach. And it kind of sounded like an ordeal a little bit. So I'm like, oh man, what did I get myself into? What am I doing? I don't like pain. I don't like any of that kind of stuff. So I'm like, what am I doing? So I'm just like, all right, okay, this girl, my friend told me like, this one's different. It's going to be better. It's going to be better. So I'm just in my head like, okay, no, mine's going to be, it's going to be different. So I go to this place yesterday. I have to get there at 3:30 and I work till 3. So trying to get to my house by 3:30 is kind of a hard thing to do. So I had to leave a little bit early and I did get up there. I got up there at like 3:22 or so. So I did actually make good time. There was no traffic on the 405 yesterday. So it was great. But I followed my Waze. So I use Waze for directions and I followed the Waze. I'm like trying to figure out where it is because it's right by the airport and there's a ton of like office complex buildings and stuff in there and office things in there. So it's kind of hard to find everything. And so I go to this place, I park and I'm like, okay, I got to find this building. And I see like, I'm in the building and I see like other suites and his suite was 201. So I'm like, oh, it's upstairs. So I walk all the way around the building in the back and I finally find a door that says 201. I'm like, oh, I go up here. So I go upstairs up there and I see a bathroom and I'm like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom really bad before I do this. So I went pee in this bathroom. And then I walked next door to Suite 201, but it looks kind of weird. The name on the door is not Lighten Up Health Center. And I'm like, huh, and I'm like knocking, it's locked. I'm like, this isn't right. So I call the place. I'm like, hey, like I'm trying to find you. He's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm outside of Suite 201. He's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then I go outside. I'm like, oh, I'm in the wrong building. So I was kind of next to it. So I was in the wrong building. So I basically had to drive and kind of find the building. So I found the building, got there. So now I'm like 5 minutes late to my appointment. That's supposed to be an hour or so. And the owner is there. He's super nice, kind of cracking jokes with me, asking me like if I'm okay with the radiation. I'm like, wait, what? Huh? He's like, I'm just kidding with you. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I'm kind of like a little like nervous. I don't really know what to expect. I've never done this before. So he's like, okay, well, go to the bathroom, do whatever you need to do now. I'm like, okay. So then we go, I fill out a form basically about any of my health issues, and I don't have any health issues. I'm like, I'm just here kind of to see what this is like, and I want to experience it. So we go into the room, and there's this like bed. So right now I'm going to pause it. I'm going to put a picture of the bed in this video. One sec. So it was a unique looking table. If you could kind of tell, I don't know if you can see in that picture, your head's kind of down here and your feet are up. So your feet are higher than your head, and kind of the little spout that goes in your butt just came out of the thing, if you can kind of see that a little bit. So he would like go through his whole spiel about it. He was like, yeah, we're a lot different here. They use a heated water. So the water's heated up to about 100 degrees. And then they put a saline solution in there. And the saline solution is what actually helps you not have any cramping. And so a lot of people don't do that, I guess. And so that's what makes them a little bit different. And then he was like, okay, you do that. And then we administer probiotics. So he opened that cabinet, and behind the cabinet, there was like a thing about this big, and there were liquid probiotics in there. And he was like, yeah, we do it twice for your gut, just to kind of put all the good stuff in, because we kind of go in and we clean it out. We want to make sure we're getting the good bacteria back in there. So I'm like, okay, thinking, oh, this is okay. So he's like, yeah, so what you do, basically, you just disrobe, and then I can keep my shirt on, but he said that sometimes you get water on your back, so maybe pull your shirt up a little bit. And he was like, yeah, and you just like stick this thing in your butt and then push this call button once you're ready. And I basically was completely covered. Like, he couldn't see anything of me because I had like a towel on my legs, I had my shirt on. Then he came in and he put a blanket over me and he put a heating pad on my stomach, and he basically turned the water on. The water was going at a 1.5 psi, so very, very, very easy, gentle water. And it was super easy. Like, basically, I didn't have to like wait for him. I could do it myself. He kind of left me alone, which was great, because you don't really want to be pooping in front of a bunch of people. So I'm kind of just like, okay. So he would come in and just check to see if I was okay, if I needed anything, or to administer the probiotics. He did 2 rounds of the probiotics. So I was sitting there for about an hour or so, maybe like 45 minutes, and zero cramping. I didn't feel bad. I'm kind of just like, really? This is it? But basically the water kind of goes in and you release as the like whenever you feel like it. Like, you don't want to try to hold it in. I mean, you can if you really want to, but you don't need to hold it in. Basically, water in, water out, water in, water out. He was like, yeah, we're just getting water in, I'm getting water out. And every time you get the water out, you're going to be able to get more water back in. So I'm like, cool. The water was going to go through the entire length of my colon, which was interesting. So I'm like, all right, thinking, okay. So yeah, I did the whole thing, and then I was done. And I would highly recommend, if you are to do one of these places, stay there and wait for a little bit to make sure you kind of got everything out, or do it where it's close to your house. I was very lucky that this place was like a mile from my house, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom again. Oh, I have more liquid I need to get out. So I kind of had to rush home and go to the bathroom. I was like, oh crap, yeah, I didn't get it all out. So yeah, highly recommend do something close to your house, or make sure you kind of stay there and make sure you get everything out, because that was not very comfortable driving. I'm like, oh boy, I don't want to explode on my pants. So yeah, I liked it. I will say, I didn't see a lot of stuff come out, because you do see there's a tube and you're able to kind of see the stuff. I did see my watermelon. I saw a yellow watermelon that I had a couple hours before, which is crazy because I normally don't see. My digestion's kind of slow. It's a little slower than I would like, and it's something I am actively working on to improve my transit time. So the time it takes for you to eat it for you to see it in your poop. It's not that fast, and you can check your transit time by eating corn. So when you eat corn, kind of record what time you eat it and then record what time you actually start to see it. Then you can see how fast is your gut actually working. Ideally, we want to be having a bowel movement an hour after we eat. I'm not there, definitely not there, but I would like to be there. So it was really interesting because I kind of cleaned everything out. Didn't see any gunk, didn't see any of that mucoid plaque that they talk about. Didn't see any of that. I truly honestly believe that the reason, I've done enemas too, and it's kind of the same deal like that too. I don't really get much out. I truly believe that my diet, with a high fiber diet, and the water is contributing to this 100%, like 100%. You guys, I read this book. The whole reason I went vegan actually is based on this book called The Enzyme Factor. And The Enzyme Factor was actually written by the guy who invented the colonoscopy. And that's a little windy. I'm gonna pause with Lindsay. He basically prescribes his water, or he prescribes my water to his patients for 3 months before he actually starts to kind of work with them. And in almost every single case, he can completely clear their colon with just my water. So it's kind of insane that I'm like, wow, like I really truly feel like my colon is really clean because of this water. Like, holy crap. So I'm a huge fan of the water. I think I'm an even bigger fan of the water as time goes on, just because, sorry, it's really windy. I'm gonna pause and do it when it's not so windy. One sec. All right, not quite sure if I'm gonna get it less windy, but I'm just gonna talk really loud about my bowel movements on this public street. Totally fine, totally chill. But I did wanna say that this morning I had a bowel movement and I saw my dinner. So I'm like, holy crap. I normally don't see that for at least like probably till about like lunchtime or so. So I'm like, that actually kind of made things kind of start moving a little bit faster through me, which is cool. But all in all, I think it was really cool. I highly recommend this place. I'm going to highly recommend it to my clients. I'm going to highly recommend it to anyone in Orange County that is interested in colon hydrotherapy or colon cleansing or any of that, because this place was awesome, you guys. Like, they are doing it right at this place, and it was cool. So all in all, good experience. Probably not going to be doing them all the time. I don't think I really truly need to, but there are people that do, and that's okay. And I'm glad that there are options like that available. So hope you guys have a great Tuesday, and make sure your colons are clean.